I got the tractor beam out of commissioner. This is going to be a real short trip. Okay, hit
it.
Hello, how's everybody doing today? Jason, you there? Oh, we have technical difficulties already. All right, well, I'll get started while he's
Good.
stuck.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. I just can't see you moving. Good start. All right, well, we got a show tonight on we figure we'd do a show on background ships. He is gonna come back. We have a show tonight. It's it's something that's not been talked about much. A lot of people actually look in the background to see if they see like the Millennium Falcon or Slave One or something like that on a lot of movies, but not a lot of people look at the actual ships that are back there that are just blobs. They look like blurs a lot of time. And I can hear you good. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah. And we're going to take a look at some of the ships that are in the background that are actually models that the ILM guys just threw together and, put them together just thinking they were going to be blurs in the background that nobody would really be able to see or nobody would really care about. So they would just throw a bunch of kit parts together. And turns out that they're actually pretty cool models that I've just recently, became aware of. And I'm sure you, Jason, you've known about them for a little while, I'm sure.
A little bit, but I think as you started getting more interested, I started to learn a little bit more about how detailed they were.
Yeah.
And because they like as you mentioned, it's sort of a blink and you miss it type thing.
Yeah.
But now, as there's been a little bit more of a deep dive, gone a little bit more in depth, it's actually very interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy actually. It's I've been, now that I've been doing models, I've been taking notice that a lot of the parts are reused in so many different kits. And, they would take these pieces left over. Okay, so we'll show you more, especially these two ships specifically. They're just pieces from each other that they kind of threw together, and they're weird. They're actually kind of funky and cool and fugly, and some of them have pieces on them you wouldn't, blow your mind when you see them. Let's just I'll give you an idea. So here's like everybody see. Oops, no, not that one. Everybody sees these these scenes in the movies, right? And the frigate and the rebel transports, and eventually an X-wing will fly through here. But most people don't take notice is these little things right here, these little blurry black background ships, and yeah, they're actually models that they threw together. There's a lot of them. Like I am currently building this one, and plan on doing this one. There's another YouTube channel that he takes these same ships and kind of fleshes them out more and 3D renders them and makes them look really cool, like actual battleships in the movie, and puts a whole backstory to them and does a whole lot of inside, detailing for them. Matt asks, how many background ships have been recorded? I do not know that answer. I mean, no, I'm sure there's like this one here. Yeah, this one I know about. This one is the same as this one here. They just reused it. These two I think are very similar. This one's very different. And you have them in each movie. Well, Empire and Jedi specifically. Like this is the end of Empire, where they're flying. They zoom in on Luke and Leia inside the medical frigate, and then later on you see a bunch of background ships during the Battle of Endor. Hey CC, how's it going?
Good evening, CC.
You're welcome to join us if you'd like, CC, if you're not busy.
So, Chris, one thing I was curious about, right?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
remember watching one of the behind the scenes videos, and it's of the transport ship, the one that kind of looks like a horseshoe crab, and he talks
This
about
one
working
here?
on it. Yeah, the one that's like kind of
Okay.
dead on versus like angular.
Yeah.
It's got all the little
Yeah.
boxes underneath.
Yeah.
So he talks about having had worked on that for like 3 months, and he
Mhm.
goes, and as you see the shot of it, it's literally just seconds, and all the detail and work you put into it, sort of, is at a loss. People don't get to see that. So I'm wondering, how many of these do they know for a fact are going to be background chips, or how many of them, you know, like were only some supposed to be background chips, and some that they were actually building in detail and ended up only being background chips, like. I'd be interested. I'm sure more of the model community knows, a lot more diligent detail, but I'd be interested in knowing like how many were going to be. All right, let's just throw this together and get it in the back. Versus, hey, this might make it on,
Mhm.
but it just didn't get much screen time at all. I'd be interested to
Mhm.
sort of find out and see how many of those actually were just done specifically to be stuck in the back,
Well,
just to have something flying by.
I know of one that is very fleshed out and very, that is very detailed. Okay. And then there's like this one here. This one here really is one of the ugliest looking ships you'll ever see. But like we talked about this before with the Mount Calamari transport, right?
Mhm.
So with that, I mean, somebody spent countless hours painting this thing, right? Only to have it go by like in a split second. Like I would be devastated if I spent so many hours. Like we could, hopefully I could show you like the picture of it, but um, it's like it goes by so quickly that you don't even see it whatsoever. Hey, Jason, can you send CC the link in case she can? So if she wants to get on, I can't seem to get on
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Um, but I think like you were asking me, um, this. Okay, so I'll just go through and highlight a couple of them, and then when we get to that one, I'll show you which one I think. I mean, I have no idea. It's totally up in the air what it would, which ones are meant to be on screen and which ones aren't. Like I've seen these. I've seen somebody make these here. No, I'm sorry, I'm putting it on the wrong screen. I've seen somebody make these two here. They're the same ones. Um and they look like they're just a bunch of hodgepodge pieces put together. Okay. This one I haven't seen yet. I I I have a general idea of what it's made of just by talking with people, and also that video that I was talking about, the guy who fleshes it out. Um, so just I actually have them a little bit highlighted so you can see like this one's called, they call this one the twin pod ship because it has looks like it's two cylinders there, you know.
Mhm.
And this is the same ship, but it's in a different direction. Like here, right here is the pod, whereas it's right there's two of them right there. There's one pod there. It's just angled differently.
So Matt asks, at what point did they start doing only CGI? And I think that wasn't until the prequels. So that's
Yeah,
interesting as it works
prequels.
its way into this as
Yeah,
well, because
yeah,
if they wanted more ships to fill up the screen, there was no copy and paste. They had to,
right.
like as we're discussing,
Build it.
take model kits, kit bash them, and get something on there in the background, something that looked or resembled a ship in some way or another. Um, and that's where we get the term hero versus stunt, or
Yeah,
because it's something that just has to be good enough to make it on screen and not, captured by the camera front on. But it's interesting, it's at a time where they had to physically make a tangible object to to be visible on screen.
yeah. So if you can see this one a little bit, this is a totally different ship. These two ships, from what I understand, are made from this very similar model parts, like the body of a Harrier kit, a Harrier jet plane. Um, one of the one that Lee Ralph built that I just recently bought is this one. Okay. And one that I want to build is back here. It has like 2 wings. So, and then like you'll see, here's a picture of the modelers with these models hanging in the background here. So you can see like there's that twin pod one right there, has that side pod right there. These I can't figure out. I'm sure somebody knows what they look like. I haven't seen these yet. But this is the same shot as the one I put up before, but off of the blue screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And Benjamin mentions that the prequels in particular had more practical miniatures and scaled models than any other Star Wars film, and that is correct. That and going all the way through the prequels, believe it or not, most people think the entire thing is CGI, but no, I a large portion did rely on everything from Mustafar to the pod race scene, the stadium. I mean, there's so many aspects that were practical effects, which is it's interesting because the one time CGI was heavily used, but yeah, this is a really fascinating image here, Chris, because it's one of those things where, like, again,
I
we
love
talk
this
about
image.
this a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But we talk about this a lot where for a movie that, they had no idea 20, 30, 40 years later that people would be so, enthralled by and so fascinated. Yeah, that going this far in that people are actually trying to ID these parts, figure these parts out, and build them, which you're in the process of doing now. I think you're on number 3. You're on, right? Number 3 for a background chip.
I bought one from.
Well, first build.
Bought one from
yeah.
John Simmons. Yeah, this is my first build.
And then one from Lincoln. But this would be first. But it'd be the third ship. Going
yes,
into the
it'd be my third
which,
ship. Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting that
it's not my last.
Yeah, it intrigues me that has just as much intrigue and fascination as an X-wing or the Falcon.
Yeah. To certain people, I mean, to other people, some people are just look at this and they're like, "Wow, gives a shit," But some people,
it's the equivalent of like a random background character or an extra. Yeah.
Right. But what fascinates me is these are actual model ships, and from what I understand, maybe we'll show this one picture. I hope I'm not stepping on anybody's toes, but I've been told it's out there and it's allowed to see, and it's a lot of the reason why people are able to make these pieces is because they saw this picture and figured out what model parts belonged where. Like this is the one that I'm building right now. It's weird and stupid, but it's cool. I like it a lot, actually. I'm pretty cool. I wish I was gonna bring it down, show it on camera, but I have pictures. I have in-build pictures of it. So I'm just gonna go show some close-ups of some of these. Like this is that one that I'm building, and from these pictures you can't see what they are. You have no idea, but until you're able to actually see the model and be able to.
What's also interesting, Chris, is so as you mentioned early on, as you start building these models, you start to realize, how many pieces you used across the board, right? So I think that even though you can't tell what these are, I think that for those who have, deep dived and built and been involved with the parts and IDing parts and building models and realizing you start to be able to make out some of the shapes and some of the pieces of like, hey, this might be this or this might be that. And that's how some of it comes to without the detailed imagery. And that's why I think this is so fascinating.
So this one in particular was one of the first ones that I've taken notice to. After the opportunity was presented to me to buy one from Lee Ralph, I don't know how I found the guy's video, but he was in contact with Jason Eaton, and Jason Eaton helped him to see the shape of what this is, and it's a Harrier jet plane cut up and turned around. It's backwards. Like these are the wings that are supposed to be up here, and this is the front of the airplane with a cockpit here and a not a missile launch, not a missile, but I forget what he said, firing bay or something that goes underneath the ship. And this is what really made me think, maybe I can build this, because this, like the Harrier, I mean, you and I have talked about this a lot. The Harrier is on so many Star Wars models. It's on Sandcrawler, it's on Slave One. There's so many pieces from this Harrier that are all over Star Wars, all over every ship, and kind of what brings it all together and makes it more cohesive, because you look at one and your eyes can't really see the specific shapes, but it looks similar to the next ship, which keeps it all in world. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Instead of throwing some dump truck, ship model part onto a jet, a spaceship that has jet plane model parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually made that ship. It's mashed potatoes.
Well, what do you think of this? I mean, I don't know. I can't tell if this is sarcasm, but Far From Dead Star says, I'm pretty sure one is an actual hot dog, just painted and put all the way in the back. I mean, it's one of those things where the way that they were acting back then, it's yeah. I mean, I can't tell if that's sarcasm or not, but it's not that far fetched either. So
no, it's not. I mean, there's two ships in here in that picture that look like a hot dog. I mean, who knows? They could have been anything. You'll see on this ship that I'm building that they put a little British soldier on
yes,
hanging from the bottom.
Do it, do not, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's weird. When I looked at it, I was like, I don't think I really put that on my model. But then the more I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, I got to put it on the model. It's accurate to the piece.
And he's upside down, isn't he? He's just kind of like hanging out. He's like, hey.
Yeah, I'll show a close up of him then. It's pretty cool. Here's that twin pod. This one may have been planned to be on screen because it's kind of more detailed, and they had a couple of them. Like they have one going sideways, they one going at you. Here's another one. I want to build this one as well. Oh yeah, okay. Benjamin said mashed potatoes for asteroids. That I heard was true.
Yes, they did use the potatoes during the scene where they're flying through one of the planets blew up. I think it's after they come out of the mouth of the beast. Oh, so that's pretty clear. Okay, look at that. All right, nice.
Yes, this is the one that I have that Lee Ralph built. And again, it's a Harrier jet plane cut up and upside down, backwards, and pieces glued into it. It's just, they just hodgepodge things together thinking, all right, some of them are going to be seen on screen. Some of them are just going to look like blobs in the back. It's a cool, I mean, here's the other one that I'm interested in. It has these two Harrier wings going down. I don't know. You and I find it fascinating. I'm just curious, like let me know in the chat. Do you guys think this is pretty fascinating? I think here's one. Well, this doesn't look like a hot dog.
Yeah, I'd like to hear some feedback.
I think this might be the one. The one that Jason Eaton made that Michael Hawes has. That's in Jedi. That's from Return of the Jedi. This one is different.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one with Akbar in it, right?
Yeah, that's the one with Akbar in it. Yeah,
it's got a similar, like elongated. It's got a little bit of a
very similar
style to it. Yeah.
This one I haven't seen, and I'm not. I mean, I have no idea what parts these could possibly be. It's such a weird shape that, and who knows? You might even be looking at it at a weird angle, because the other one, the twin pod, was turned in a certain way. It looked like a totally different ship.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because the camera angle for a background chip, if they're just trying to fill space, no pun intended, their focus is on the main scene, the main ship. They're not going to stop and cut to another angle just to capture. You know what I mean?
Right.
So but then again, I don't know. There's the reason why this becomes such an interesting topic is, like you said, the Mon Calamari ship, right? You look at the paint job on that, and so much time, effort, energy, and detail, at least at that time, looks like went into that ship. However, you don't it's not a well-known piece. It's not
No,
one of those things that somebody
no.
can point out and say, hey, that's, piece A or piece B or
See, now this looks like a Y-wing, doesn't it?
yeah, it does.
Yeah, it looks like a Y-wing. And then in here, I think that one was I don't know. That looks like the twin pod, but it's a lot smaller than the other one.
It's
And then you
interesting as
have-
he's holding it, it really scales the pieces. It gives you an
Yes.
idea of how big they are.
And then like there's the transport. Everybody knows the
Because the
transport.
Rebel Transport, I always thought was a larger, at least
Oh, yeah.
for like studio scale, I always thought was larger, but maybe there's two variations of it.
I think so. I think there's like this little one, and then I think there's another size that they used for like because that's seen very well in Star Wars. So they probably made a
Yeah,
hero
especially when
ship
it's taken
for
off
it, and
from
this
Hoth. Remember?
Yeah.
When it's coming up.
Yeah,
off
you
the-
see it. See, now this here is that ship that we just were talking about, and then there's one of the same thing over here.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing. This is the one that is the Harrier that has the two wings hanging down that I want to do. So let's bring up.
I really like that middle one with the two pods on it. Kind of looks like a pod razor. That's an interesting one.
Actually, yeah, here it is. This is that's the same picture, but I thought I know I have another. No, there's different variations like there's different angles of it. You can see it from the front more here, okay, and then you see it from the side. And it's weird if you watch. I watched the movie a little bit. They showed a clip of it being how it floats, like it just like glides down. It's weird. If you ever get a chance, if you're interested that much, go take a look. It like weirdly like floats down, like if you have a scratch in your eye and you have this like floater in your eye and you look.
Oh, just kind of.
Yeah, it just kind of settles
like
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I had one. See, there's another angle of one.
Whenever we do shows like this, it always makes me like when I get off, I'm probably gonna go back and watch.
Right.
Them because it's just like when you get into found parts, you go in and you start to focus in on different things.
Yeah. So okay, I'll give you an okay, well let's just bring up my Harrier, my Dornian. Okay.
Yeah, let's take a peek at this. Yeah.
Okay, so this is okay. It's in the Chronicles book, so this is accurate. Okay, and you can see how detailed it is in the Chronicles book. So, and even the paint job is pretty damn freaking close.
So it wasn't like they just slapped it together just to be in the background. They put just as much, maybe not just as much, but they put a lot of effort into the schematics, the paint job, the detailing, the weathering, as if it was going to be seen well by the eye.
And in Jedi, this actually is. I think I have a picture of where it's at in Jedi. It is. Oh, I know he sent me that picture. Damn it! Oh well, I'll find it later. Yeah. So like you can see. Like these are just kit parts thrown together. Like this actually is a Slave One dish, and on top there's a whole bunch of Slave One parts. There's Slave One wings right here from a Empire Strikes Back model kit that I don't remember which one. I don't remember what company it was, but they took a Slave One and just took pieces from it and made it into this ship. Like here's the front end. There's two of them one on top of each other. I'll tell you, when I got this from John, I was just blown away. I was speechless when I got it. He did a freaking amazing job on this thing. But like this is okay. So there's a Slave One cockpit right there. There's the wings right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird how they just like took whatever and made it look like something. It's just awesome. There's some Ferrari
detail.
Ferrari engine parts right there. I mean, it even says Ferrari.
Yeah, I like that.
This is an actual part from Slave One, like one of the pieces from the studio Slave One from Empire. This is as well. This is on Slave One. They just use so many of the same parts. They must have had tons of these kits just lying around. So yeah, here's a good example of a model kit that has model parts on. Like you can see the different. I love these models that aren't painted yet, and they show all the different colors, all the different
Yeah, it allows you to differentiate what's.
Yes.
Yeah, you can. It almost maps out different pieces.
Yeah. Let's see here. Step back. Can't move it. There we go. Oh, that's the last one I have for the Dorian. And like here's the Harrier. That there's this one this is this one here up top here. Okay, so this one was made by John Simmons, and you can see like it's an if you look at it, it's upside down and backwards airplane.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool to me.
Yeah, and the paint job on that as well. So now on this, Chris, the paint job, was there some artistic liberties taken on this, or do we know if this is 100% accurate?
No, this is artistic liberties, because once we get to the table picture, you'll see that all of these models are just gray. They were painted gray just to be in the background, and you know you could do whatever you want with them. A friend of mine, a guy who I talk to now, actually painted this model here, bright yellow and black to emulate an old sci-fi artist. I don't remember his name, but this here's mine. This is the one that I got from Lee Ralph. It's unpainted. I'm gonna paint it. Kind of have an idea how I want to do it, but not 100% yet. I'm just still thinking about it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece.
I love it. And this is the first one that got me started on this. You came to me and you're like, "Hey, what do you think of this one?" And I'm like, yeah, I'll do that one.
Yeah, there was some like hesitation, but like fascination and
Yep. So this is that
was a nice rabbit hole to jump down.
Oh yeah, I love it. It's got me obsessed. So this is the Harrier with the wings that I want to do. And then this is the same ship, but in a different light. You can see the wings going down in the close up. Throws you off because that's just lighting. You know, it's not lit up.
Yeah, it's not coloring all light. Yeah.
No. Let's see. Shall we? Let's go to the table, shall we? So this here is the picture that has the actual model pieces on them. Okay. So right here is my Dornian. Right there. See how it's all, well, this one had a little bit more paint on it. This one, the paint faded or did something. But the original one is painted. You can see it in the Chronicles book. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Here is the Harrier that we just were talking about that John Simmons painted. You see how it's all gray and he took artistic liberties. This is the one that Jason Eaton made that has the Akbar in it.
Okay, so that's the one. Yep. Now, what's the yellow one in the front? Yep. Has that been pinpointed?
All right. So John told me what the names of some of these are, what they're from. Okay, so I have another picture here. I'll highlight each one. So the ones in green here are Lumpy's wooden X-Wings from the holiday special.
Okay. And they're actually made of wood, huh?
Yeah, they're made of wood.
Hence the X-Wings from the holiday special.
There's a Dornian. They call this the M99. Okay. In the red here is Mace's family starship from the Ewok movie.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
who
All
made
right,
Sims.
that makes sense. I'm not familiar, but it makes sense to be part of the Ewok movie.
Yeah, and it was made by Bill George.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, it's made from the vac form from the P-38 kit, same as the Dornian. Okay. The pink here is a Star Tours ship. Okay. And the bottom one down here is a just a Return of the Jedi background ship that I actually want to build because I found a model that is shaped like this. This they just vac formed and made a just a shape. But these are actually Saturn V engines.
The paint job on that one always throws me off because remember I was telling you the other day it
Yeah.
almost looks like a comic style.
Yes. Well, they knew that this one wasn't going to be a hero one. So why can't I zoom in on it? Okay, there we go.
Well, the other ones all share the consistency, right? The
Yeah.
continuity of Star Wars. This one, it's like someone just took some marker and
Yep. There's marker here. There's marker here. These here are the engines from an X-wing.
X-wing, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. Those X-wing parts.
And I think this could be from an 8-rad tank, but who knows? This one I'm going to build.
So that's actually all right, Chris. So that still has the rod going into it.
Yes.
So that we're actually looking at it from it. So on its
Top
side,
down.
you're looking at the picture. Yeah, you look like unless they held it this way and moved
Mhm.
it, or if they held it that and it was going this way.
Yep.
That's interesting, huh?
Yep. Top down.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
So here's that ugly ship that I told you about. I have better pictures of that though. But this is what happens. Okay. So that's from Bespin. That looks like the
That's
the
the
walk.
Bespin duel. Yeah.
Yep. That looks like a skiff.
Skiff. Yeah.
Yep.
From Tatooine.
That I don't know.
Which I won't be surprised if they threw a skiff way in the background. I mean, not that I know, but I'm just saying.
Well, these are all Jedi. These are Empire. This is Empire. This is Empire. Jedi. They have a whole bunch of them here. So, it could have been anything from any movie. Star Tours and Ewoks and Holiday Special. This one I think is just a bigger version of this one here.
Yeah, it looks like it's a mimic.
Yep.
Like a hero version. Yeah.
Yep. So John here says Saturn V F1 engines. Yep.
Now, do you know anything about that yellow one, that little beetle taxi cab thing?
No, I don't.
That's interesting, huh? It's a very prominent color for a Star Wars ship.
Yep. It is. It probably was in the Holiday Special or Ewoks or something.
Yeah, something very, off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Outside the box, sure.
That's
the
a
wooden
very
ones are interesting.
background ship. This one back here.
That is, yeah.
Yes.
Think about the reason why the wooden ones are interesting is because, I mean, an X-wing made out of wood. That's tedious.
Kind of wonder why they would do that though. Like, doesn't make much sense.
It's just tedious work, right?
Yeah.
For
nothing.
Image.
So, like, you can see these were made. They put some care in these. They didn't just throw this one together. This one was probably going to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
And here, there's the bottom of that one that is like.
Yeah, so it was top down. You're right.
Yep.
A little bit more detail too.
Yep.
Hmm.
So let's see here. What else?
But again, looking at these, you can still pick up on the fact that so many of the same pieces across the board on all the different ships.
Well, what happens is, people obsessed like me or like you or other people, like Lee Ralph and Jason Eaton, they'll go through this and they'll say, oh, that is this model. That is that model. And, I don't have the knowledge of all the models. So, I can't do that. But
well, the thing about IDing, Chris, not to interrupt, but like the other day when we were talking about a piece, some pieces are so close together in style, but they're not necessarily the actual one. Like the tracks, for example, that's a good example. those tracks are used on so many different models, but at the same time, there's so many variations of how large they are, how spaced apart they are, how many spikes they have in them. Um, we noticed that with like a Canon. It was the other night, right? One of the Canons, but we realized it was
Mhm.
like the same but different. Yeah, so it really is a work of art in and of itself to ID some of these things.
So now this is the one Jason E made.
Yeah.
He, he took a lot of artistic liberties because the real one, looks like a piece of shit. Okay, but
Oh,
he
it was
added,
just a background, yeah. So he made this more
yes,
of a Hero style ship.
yes, he did, and the really fascinating, the really crazy part of this whole piece is I love the engines too on a lot of these,
Yeah,
like this.
beautiful.
I love it.
Great lighting too.
Yeah. And to show you, like, there's on the
Yes,
bridge,
sir.
Akbar.
And
Like,
just to give people an idea, that Akbar is like a
it's
fingernail. Like he is
yeah,
tiny,
tiny. Because
which just goes to show the workmanship in that.
there's one image where I saw a piece that I
You can
saw
see
this
his
when I
feet. I
was,
love it.
what's that?
You can see his feet. The bridge is
Oh yeah,
glass.
there it
See
is.
that?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. And you can see a fingerprint there.
From the glue, yeah, that's he was like, ah, damn it, and it
Yep.
was stuck to his finger. That's one of
Left
those
some
moments.
skin behind. That
Happens
we've
all
all
the time,
done
man.
that. Left a lot of skin behind. But there's one picture where it really just like showed me how the size of this thing. Because at the time I was working on the Slave One, and I was like, holy shit, that's on Slave One. It's on the bottom. I know that. There, where is it? Crap. I know it's in the bottom here somewhere. Oh, here. Okay, so these pieces here. Okay, they're like this big. Okay.
Yeah.
And this piece no, not that one. This one right here. If you follow, it's like a horseshoe right there. Okay. I showed it to you, Jason. I was like, this thing is literally like 1.5 inches by 1 inch long. And this is a small ship. Like, but look at all the detail he put into this thing,
It's got some Walker pieces on it too. That little panel right there is from a Walker.
Is it?
If you look right, see that? Yeah, see the panel going
This?
towards. Move up a little bit more to the right.
This?
To the right. Yep.
Oh,
yep.
yeah. Okay.
It's got the latch key panel.
And these too. These are like 1/2 inch big. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're so tiny. But, he puts so much care, like so much detail into all of his pieces. And okay, so here's the ugly ship I've been talking about. Okay, so
yeah, this is a real interesting one because this has quite a bit of detail for a ship that you don't even. It's just so passive.
I have to find. I'm gonna go up and get. I might go get. This one was built by Lee Ralph. This last one was built by Lee Stringer. And this is
the 3D.
This here's a 3D render from that guy who's on YouTube doing these.
But this makes me wonder if this was one of those ships that could have possibly had the opportunity to make it a little bit more visible on screen at one point.
I'd be surprised. This thing's pretty freaking ugly.
Yeah.
I'll have to get my pictures I don't have the pictures. Oh, here's mine. Nope, that's just the beginning of it. I'll have to look through, find those pictures that I sent you, Jason, because I don't have them here. I'm not signed into my Google account or something. Oh, here we go. Okay. I'll just take this off while we talk. And I find it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not signed in.
Yeah, but that I think it's pretty well known as like the medic ship, right? Medical ship.
That's what everybody calls it. But I mean, I think one person started that to begin with.
Okay, so we don't know officially if.
No.
Okay.
That's what somebody started calling it, and then everybody kind of went with it. But it never really struck me as a medical ship. I always see it as like a refuel ship. Like, in space, you have to have. I'm sure ships run out of gas. You know what I mean? It's like you have to fill them up, and so that's
That's
where I
like
came
being
up
it's
with
like
that.
being on the lake with a boat. You
Yes.
gotta just run up to a dock, get some gas, and somebody comes up to you, fills you up.
Son of a bitch, it's not. Oh well, I can't bring it up for some reason. Oh well. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, that's a lot of the pictures that I have. I thought I had more, but I don't. Oh, this one here. This one is one that John Simmons built that you and I both want to build.
Yeah, I really like this one. I think this one's really unique, and it doesn't quite look like Star Wars. It does, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it's a tank. That's a tank on top.
Those are those back ends from the TIE bomber.
Yes, they might
They
be.
might be
These are
right.
they're a little big for the TIE bomber, aren't they? These
They
are
might. Yeah, I
the
can't tell. They do look a little too big, but they have
yeah
that same. I know the piece. So that tank wheel wall piece that connects. See coming down off the vent,
yeah
off the back part. That's on the tie. That's actually on a bunch of things, but that sits the same way as it does on the TIE fighters and on Vader's tie as well, both on the top
right.
and bottom.
I've got to
But
find that
again,
picture.
the escape pod, it's got the small engine
I've got to find that
parts.
picture with the with the guy. Just
Real
I
quick
don't
though,
know
can I
why.
see B2 and B3 before
Yeah,
we
sure.
close up? I just want to check this out
Oh, oh,
in
oh,
detail.
don't want that. Let's bring it up. Different angles.
Yeah. It's actually a nice looking ship.
It is. Like these are
Yeah.
these are half of this. Okay, take half of this and split it in half. It's in the engines of the X-wing.
Okay.
In the front engines of the X-wing.
Oh,
And
that's right. Yep.
these are the cans that are on the top of the wings of the X-wing.
Yeah. No.
Why can't I bring that up? But like,
Yeah, see,
I'm
this is the type of stuff that you can. Okay, and then if you look at those two little pieces with the two vents next to them, one of
these
those is this. Yeah, they're
these
the
here.
same. Yep. So if you look at the two vents, the things in between, yeah, right there. Um, so one of those is a chin gun on the ATST, and those two pieces actually go on the ion cannon. The pump, the shooting part.
These two
They
circular
sit on the
pieces here.
no in between the circular pieces.
Oh, these here.
Those two. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, so those are widely used as well, and a lot of hot pieces. So ESB,
yeah,
yeah. Well, this is an
yeah. Leave
ESB ship,
ESP.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, don't know. John didn't know either. He didn't tell me. If he did, he didn't tell me what it was.
Oh, okay.
But like you can just see that these, like looking at these, you can tell that they're from the top of the wings of the X-wing. It's just crazy how many times they reuse the same model kits,
Huh.
but they look so
Wow.
different all over the place.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna bother me if I don't find that picture.
Well, that's great art.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Hammond said the Hunting Panther. Yeah, he's right. It's that piece is from the Panther, the German tank.
Jason, take 1 second. I'm just gonna run up and grab my piece. It'll take me 1
Yeah.
second. All right.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
just
do
gonna
your
grab
thing.
it. It's easier to grab it than just to talk about it. Find it.
Yeah. Do your thing. So thanks for bearing with me tonight, guys. I'm a little under the weather, hence my voice sounding the way it does. But yeah, so as Chris is grabbing that, just going through this, so we had started discovering more ships as the interest took place, and the more ships we came across, the more we realized there were. And the question was asked a little while ago by Matt, how many were recorded? That we don't know, but we are finding that there's a lot more than we originally suspected. No, I won't be falling asleep far from Death Star. Just feeling a little under the weather.
Yeah, me
So
too.
Matt asked what I'm working on. So right now, Matt, I'm working on an ion cannon, and I am finishing up the last touches of an ATST that was originally started by Lee Ralph, and he didn't fully complete it. It was a stop motion version. It has the metal armature body, stop motion body, which is fantastic, and it had most of the pieces with it. For the most part, I'd say about 90% complete. I had to get about 10% of the remaining pieces, but yeah, I'm just finishing that up and then working on the Iron Cannon as well, and having a little bit of fun with both. Uh, both fantastic pieces to work on.
All right, so here it is. Here's the. Let me put it on full screen,
Yeah, let's
and you
blow
get
that
to
up.
see like all the different.
The separation from all the different colors.
Yes, that I love that. And seeing pictures of that. Okay, so I mean, like all the different colors you can. This is the non-hero side. You can see the different colors depict different um, model
It's all
kits.
the different kits, yeah,
Yeah. So,
because it's yet to be painted. So
like in this one here, inside there is on Slave One. Okay. Um, this here is a part to a uh, the hell was that? This is a truck cab. Okay, the white part there. This is a oh god, why can't I think of it? So this is the hero side. Okay, and up here is just a wing to an airplane. Okay, so if you look real close, you can see the little dudes just hanging out down there on the bottom.
look at the black shiny part right below it. Yeah,
Yeah, right below the black shiny part, there's just some dude. And at first, I was like, "Do I want to add that? Do I want
and
to
he's
add that?"
defying gravity at that.
Yeah, I don't know. Had to do it. Had to put it on. But this side, you can't see. It's actually the hero side because this is the side that you see in the picture in the background, like in frame, but you can't tell what's on it. And with it laying on the table, all you see is this side. So nobody really knows what's on the back of this side.
Yeah, 100%.
I
Yeah.
think Jason Eaton does a little bit because I added a part that he added on, and he put something else here. But there's two engines that go, one here and one on the other side. But it's just a fugly looking ship, you know. It's just, I took some artistic
It is
liberty.
what it isn't.
Yeah, but that's what's coming along.
And I say this with the utmost respect, but when you're working with like what you just shown, Chris, all original pieces, all original kit parts versus recast parts.
Yeah.
I got to tell you guys, for those who aren't necessarily familiar, me and Chris had built a few models, but we were building kits. Now that we've been working with actual donor parts from the kits, it's just a world
So
of
much
difference.
better.
It is night and day. The
Oh,
way they come out, the finished work is so clean and precise, and it's so much easier work. You can put so much more into it. I mean, it really is phenomenal.
oh yeah. Like I really hate cleaning up resin kits. I hate it. It's what keeps me from going forward. Like I just get to the point where I'm like, oh god, you know.
Well, think
But
about how much more time it adds, you know? I mean, it's one of those things, and we talked about this, where it's part of the
yeah,
hobby, right?
yeah.
Like it's some of it's enjoyable because you get in the zone and
Mhm.
you're in that place and you're doing your thing. But at the same time, there's that anxiousness and that excitement to get to
Oh
certain
yeah.
parts, whether it's the paint, whether it's the weathering, and that keeps you from getting there or creates
Yes.
so much more distance between, the start and the finish.
Yeah, you want to get to, the good stuff, the actual like painting and building and sort of getting close to
Yeah.
finishing, it's like I don't want to do shaving and grinding and sanding, it's just not something I really want to spend a lot of time on. Um, but you have to learn how to do it. You can't Well, you could. I mean, you could start from model kits alone, um, but it's so much. I enjoy it a lot more because, like I said, I have to clean it. It's you might have to cut things off and shape, but you're not
Yeah, shape it and whatnot. But
shaving
yeah,
off all the bullshit.
you're not
Plus,
adding, and sometimes
you
with the
also
kits, you sometimes have to add to it because sometimes the pieces come out when they're cast, they're still thin. They don't have a lot of structural integrity. Sometimes you have to
yeah,
add styrene or putty and other things and reshape it to make it stronger.
or
It's a
they're
lot. It
warped,
adds a lot more.
or they're
Warped, yeah.
warped. Yeah,
You have hot water or a heat gun, and yeah.
yeah. So CCS, does that mean you'll display it with a hero side up because it's the most accurate from the references? I probably will display it from that angle. If it's against the wall, I probably will display it that way because it's got so mainly because of the dude, to be honest. I, I
Hmm.
I don't know. I used to look at it and think, oh, I'm not gonna do that, but now it's one of the highlights because it's so odd and weird,
Yeah. And
So
that was one of those things where they were having fun because
yeah.
we picked up on like them adding the pinup, them adding their names, them adding little sayings,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just another one of those things where it's like, hey, let's see if anybody ever spots this, right? Or why not?
Wasn't there other? Didn't they? We saw that they added it to the AT-AT, right? Their names. They put their names
Yeah,
on the AT-AT, and
yeah.
I'm
A
sure they
couple of
did
the
it on other
edits
models too.
I have inscriptions on them. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
one
I'm
of
sure
them
they did. They
has, I think one of them has like all their names, and then there's even the one on the Falcon where one of the guys who like got, I don't know if he left or got fired, but they actually scratched his name off before it like
yes,
got filmed, which I was like, oh, that's
yeah,
salty, huh?
they scratched his name. He must have been a real prick that everybody hated and didn't like
Yeah,
him anyways.
he must have tapped somebody's check or something. Yeah,
Probably, yeah. Um,
yeah,
but
it was
yeah,
the '70s.
yeah. I'm fascinated by these ships. It's just something that has really caught my interest, and it's something that not a lot of people collect.
No,
And if they do, they might have one, maybe two. But I plan on having a whole fleet. And
yeah,
it's fun. I've four. I plan on building four. Yeah.
yeah. I think that's haven't, and we've another conversation we've had. I think that's a very unique approach, but it's one of those things where Cece had mentioned earlier. Sometimes there's those pieces that people collect just for the sake of the fact that nobody else has that piece. But what's great
Hmm.
here is, like me with the concept, you genuinely have an interest in these. You genuinely
Yeah.
took a liking
Yeah.
to these. So not only have you taken a liking, but you get to collect them, have something extremely unique, and appreciate it for what it is, which I think is,
Yeah.
I think is
Yeah.
a great approach.
Everybody has X-wings. Everybody has Falcons. It's it's they're all common. They're great. Don't get me wrong. And I want to do more. I want to do like a Y-wing and a B-wing. But something about these background ships is just fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And you can build them. You build them as even if you don't. You know, you can get the list of what parts are there from friends, and it's not 100%. You can, if you see something you want to add, you could add it. It's not like you're throwing some weird kit on top of in the front of a slave one that's not supposed to be
Yeah, it's
there.
not blasphemy. Yeah.
Right. And you can just have your fun with it, like I did on the other side of the non-hero side. Well, hero side, but yeah, it's fun. But oh, Solo Fett, you're going to start working on a Y-wing.
Nice.
Yeah,
Working on one. Nice.
yeah.
One of the things I've been
More of a
doing,
hunt.
more than for the
Good.
background ship. Yeah, more than the background ships. Is as you started venturing towards the background, um, and I was getting into the concept. Normally, people would go for the hero ships first, Y wing, B wing, X wing. Where I started getting the
Mm-hmm.
concept first,
Yeah.
and now I'm backtracking to get the actual screen use ships. So now my display will be a concept Y wing, screen use Y wing, concept cloud car, screen use cloud car, concept X wing, screen use X wing, so on and so forth. So I'm about six in at this point, And Benjamin, I know you had sent me a message a couple weeks ago about checking out some pieces, and I didn't forget you. I did read that message, and I will get around to it and send you some images and share some of those with you. And I'll actually get around to posting some up in the group. I just don't take the best images. That's part of the problem. Um,
So
they look so much better when somebody else does them.
Apophis Lord, I hope I got that right. What are you going to use for those domes behind the Sunderland engines? These are Ferrari kit, or from a Ferrari, and they're actually on the model. These here, yeah, I think he's talking about these parts right here. They're just taped on for now because I have to grind away some of it, but they're actual parts for a Ferrari. I'm gonna glue them on, put them in there. Far from Death Star. He said, "I bet it's fun putting them together, and the hunt must be awesome." It actually is.
Hunt is fun. Yeah.
It is a lot of fun to find these. I couldn't do it without the help of some friends, who have told me, what kits to get and which parts to not, which parts belong to what kits. Okay. I couldn't possibly do it without their help. John has helped me immensely. Lee Ralph has helped me immensely. A guy named Jerry has helped me immensely. Lee Stringer has helped me. These are guys who have done this before, and they're all more than willing to help me put these together. But also, I just was telling you, Jason, tonight. I got a Alfa Romeo model kit today, and I'm opening it up. Just it has I bought it and it has 2 pieces that I need, right? But it was cool to go into it and say, oh, I didn't realize this part for Slave 1 came from this model kit. There's 2 of them in there, and I'm like, oh, sweet. I didn't know where they came from. But as I'm buying these kits, I'm finding out more and more and more where all this stuff's coming from. And the Ferrari, I got a good deal on eBay, and I thought that it was lost in the mail, and I was freaking out because it's not an easy kit to get, right? I told you, Jay, I was like, oh man, I don't want to have to buy this from Japan to get it, and it's really literally, I think it's pretty much these 2 pieces, right here. I think there's a piece on the back too, but it's I buy these model kits and I might use 2 pieces out of each model kit, but eventually I can use them later in other things, because eventually I'll come across a ship and I'll be like, oh, really? This piece comes from the Alfa Romeo? Sure. Great. I have that, So, if you can't find the part, I can print them for you. Which part are you talking about? I'm just curious. If you can write.
I think it means generically, just in general, if there's any part that you can't find.
Yeah.
And it's funny how you said, having to get a kit from Japan, because remember last week I got that trifecta, that 3-pack, and it seems that a lot of the harder to find pieces, they always come from Japan. When you look at where they're shipping from, they're always from Japan. It's crazy.
Jason, what's that kit I can't think of? The one I asked you about the piece from. Oh, it's a Is it
the Mark JPS Mark 2, Mark 3?
No, it's a Lotus. That's right. Lotus.
That's right.
Yeah, I have in this kit. There's a 112 size Lotus and a 120 size Lotus. I had to buy both kits, just and that's what the black pieces are on there. But yeah, if you Apophis, if you want to, you can message me on I'm on message me on Facebook. I know that there's a part of the engine in the back that isn't identified, and I'm toying with the idea of just using whatever piece I can find that's sort of close to it. And 2 other people have said they have files for to print them up. I'm not really sure how I want to go. I kind of want to go all found parts on it, all donor kit parts on it. But if I can't find one that's close, I'll just print it, I guess. You just do what you do what you can to make it look good. So
Yeah. I agree.
but yeah, I think this is a fun little subject to talk about.
Yeah, and as more of the ships get finished,
Mhm.
we can actually showcase the actual
Mhm.
ships,
Yeah.
which would be good, which would be fun.
Yeah, I like I said, I have planned on doing 4 more, and I have a lot of the kit parts to build 3 of them. 3 of them, yeah. So they're coming. They're definitely gonna be coming. Much to my wife's chagrin, she's like, "Are you obsessing over these ships again?" So yeah, I am. But yeah, but I think we'll cut it a little short tonight. Both Jason and I aren't feeling so great. I just found out that I have got positive test for COVID, so I'm gonna be stuck at home for 10 days building models. It's gonna suck. So it's a real bummer, but I'll I'll press on. I'll get through it. So, but
Cool.
thanks everybody for joining us.
We'll be back Friday, right?
Uh,
Friday night.
what's no, we don't have Friday night, do we?
Yeah, I think we have. I think
Is there
we've
group
got a
therapy?
group. Yeah, they go group therapy.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Group therapy Friday night, and then no specific day or date set just yet, but stay tuned. We will be doing a Christmas show with RS, the guys at RS. So that
Yeah.
is coming. It's just we're determining when and what time, but we
Yeah.
will be doing it. It is official. So yeah, stay tuned.
He is talking about the domes on the back, the engines. Yeah, okay. Yeah, RS show. If you haven't seen last year's RS Christmas show, you got to go
Yeah.
back and watch it. It's pretty great. It's not safe for work, that's for sure. But it was a lot of fun, and it's one of the things we want to do again for sure. Yeah, group therapy is Friday. I don't know if I'll be able to make that or not. We'll see. I might have to do something. I might have to spend family time Friday night, but we'll see. Again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We had a lot of fun talking,
Yeah.
and hope you enjoyed it. Take care.
Awesome, guys. Have a good night.
You good, man?